considering opening up a daycare and wondering how it might affect your family? Well, stay tuned because that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey guys, Sarah and San here from Work Life Glue, back for another video. It's concerning daycare, but it's also concerning family. So we're here on a Sunday to talk about it, and we just thought it'd be really important to talk about how daycare can affect your family. So I filmed videos about the advantages and disadvantages of daycare, which I will link below, but we just thought it'd be important to talk about it from a familial perspective of how daycare can affect your family. Now, a lot of this stuff is going to be negative. We will talk about the positives at the end, but we just really want, if you're thinking about doing a daycare, we want you to think about the whole picture, because there's a lot of things you may not really think about. And now, having done this for 3 years, you know, we're pretty well versed in how this affects our family. Obviously, every daycare is different, all the rules are different, your family is different, but we're going to talk about how it has affected our family in many different areas. So we're going to start with talking about how it can affect your home if you're an in-home daycare. So the first thing it obviously will affect is the space of your home. Whether you have a dedicated space in your home, or you have, like, your living room is taken up by the daycare, or like we kind of have both, where we have kind of like half of our house dedicated to the daycare, but we still use pretty much the whole house for daycare. So I mean, we're using up a lot of our space that we could have as like a family room, an extra bedroom, a guest room, an office, is daycare space. So that really cuts into our family space. For us, it's not a big deal. We knew when we bought our house what we would be doing with it, but that is something to take into consideration.
Right. So our house tends to be a little bit more dirty than the average house, just because, you know, there's, like, depending on how many kids you can have, and that's different by each state, you know, there's tons of little bodies running around getting their fingerprints everywhere, you know, making a mess of their food in the kitchen, toys scattered about, you know, just general debris just kind of randomly all over the place.
Constantly cleaning, or you have to hire somebody.
Upkeep is a little bit more, you know. And speaking of upkeep, that reminds me, you know, if you have a sidewalk, you have to keep that up, like the salt hit, make sure it's shoveled.
Winter.
And then in the summer, make sure the grass is cut, weeds are pulled. You don't want little ones getting into those, because that'd be really bad.
Right, you have to think about what kind of plants you have. I mean, if you have kids, you probably think about these things as well, but when you have a daycare, your house always has to be on. Like, it needs to look nice. You can't leave stuff everywhere. If you're painting a room, you have to clean it up. You can't just leave stuff out. It kind of has to be in business mode anytime you're in business.
A knife block, it's got to go in a certain spot depending on your licensing. If you have pocket knives, they have to be locked away, and same thing with firearms, you know?
Right.
So many different rules and regulations.
Right, and even just like minor things like where you keep your alcohol may be affected. The temperature of your water, stuff like that that you don't always think of, definitely can affect your family and can affect the way you organize and what you do in your spare time and stuff like that. Like, we're thinking about possibly remodeling things, and that affects your home if there are kids there during the day, and what you can and can't do, and if you want to do it, if it's worth the stress and that kind of thing. So keep that in mind. And then also just the general wear and tear. We've had chairs get broken. The kids always touch the TV no matter how hard I tell them not to. You know, things get broken, things get scuffed, paint gets chipped, all kinds of stuff. I mean, gates get broken. And that's with really good kids and really strict rules. Your toilets and stuff get used constantly. It's just kind of a never-ending thing. You can't really predict, but it will cut into your finances, and it will cut into your home's natural wear and tear. It will get worn and torn quicker. Faster. So secondly, daycare will definitely affect your own children, regardless of age. In some way, it's going to impact them. For little kids, if they are part of your daycare, it may be hard on them to share their toys. Even if they have separate toys, it's their home. They're going to view the daycare toys as their toys, inevitably.
Or they're going to want to bring their special toys
down
to the daycare.
Which can be a challenge with sharing and stuff like that. They're going to have to share you and their space, which can be really hard sometimes. And it's hard for the kids to understand that between these hours of the day, we have these rules, but then come 5 o'clock, you know, you can sit on the couch, or you can climb up into the bay window, which is no big deal. But when we have 10 kids, they can't all do that. So that can be kind of hard on your kids. And just, you know, sometimes they may not get along great with some of the daycare kids.
Yeah, and that happens.
So you may notice, like, their behavior is a lot different during daycare hours than it is after hours.
Right. Illnesses is kind of a big deal. Flu, pink eye, the worst. and just a handful
General
of other things.
cold
Yeah, so
all the
it's like, it's
time.
always kind of like, here comes one wave of illnesses, then there's nothing, then here's more, or it's just like one big block of being sick for a really long time, you know, and then you get sick, the kids get sick, and then it's just kind of never ending. And but the nice thing is, you know, this is related to our mental and physical health video with the link that below. If you are sick, you are able to shut down the daycare and let everybody get their rest, and, you know, recoup for the next couple of days.
That is one of the nice things. You are in charge of what can come in and who can come in and what symptoms, but at the same time, whatever rules you have, you're always going to have illnesses in your home if you do daycare. It's just part of the gig, which can be kind of gross and kind of not fun, and just have the extra germs, but that's one thing to think about when you open a daycare. Another big thing is noise. You're gonna have a lot of noise in your house, no matter how many kids there are.
And screaming and just generally loud talking.
Right, so it may affect your dog, it may affect your baby, it may affect your spouse, it may affect you. It's just one thing, depending on if you have older kids maybe, you know, if they don't have school and they're trying to sleep in, there's extra noise. That's just something to keep in mind. May get to you, but it may be nice at the end of the day when they leave and it's a little quieter.
It may affect your neighbors if they're kind of like people, you know, about
townhouses,
about those. Yeah, exactly.
Apartments,
really, the noise is something to really consider, I think.
Yeah. And another thing to consider is that as much as you love your home and as much as you think you can separate daycare from your home, even if you have a totally separate area, your house will still be your business. And that's just something to think about. It will never just be home. It will never be this place that you can just retreat to that doesn't ever remind you of work. With Sam's job, he can come home and there's nothing here that really reminds him of work. The people aren't there. There's never this thought that maybe your clients will show up on your day off, that kind of thing. So just keep that in mind. That's not like a horrible thing, but it's just something to think about, that your home will never just be your home anymore if you work there.
Right, because there are a couple times where we're shopping, like, oh shoot, need to grab that for the daycare. Not just, oh, I need that for the house. Oh, I need that for the daycare too. But, oh, I need to buy extra milk for the daycare. It's always for something else
and
for the daycare.
I mean, on my days off, I'm thinking about it. I'm going down and cleaning and preparing and stuff.
Like we talked about with the upkeep outside, like shoot, I have to mow the lawn because of daycare and a slew of other things too.
Right, a lot of your life is just tied to the business, and you can't really ever get away from that.
Yeah, and your mentality eventually adjusts to that too.
Yeah. And then lastly, it will affect your spouse in some way.
So ways that it could affect your spouse. One, if your schedule is, if you work, let's say the daycare is open from 7 to 5 and you happen to work an overnight shift and you need to sleep between those times, that would totally affect them. Moods can kind of be affected too, because if the kids are acting a little crazy and, you know, whoever's running the daycare, if it's you or your spouse, may get snippy with you. They don't totally mean it, but it's hard to like find the line. So it's just best to be like, all right, I see you're kind of getting a little worked up. I'm gonna go over here, and just you do you over here.
So like when he's home, like let's say he gets off at 3 and he comes home, I'm still with the kids, but he's home, but he's not fully home because there's daycare kids here. So it's kind of hard for him to feel like he's just home because we still have the daycare coming. The kids, I'd like him to take our kids, but they don't want to go upstairs with him. And so it's kind of this hard line of business and not. And, you know, on his days off, when he would just like to be home in a quiet house, it's just not possible. So he will go out and do stuff, or he'll just, you know, adapt and know that that's just our reality.
I've gotten used to it now. It's just, I know that when breakfast time rolls around, try to stay out of the kitchen. And I try to, like, if they're going to go outside on a snowy day, well, if the weather's okay, help them get the stuff on. What else? Get groceries during the right times. You know, it's just adapting. So.
Okay, so on the positive side, now that we've talked about, you know, some of the negatives, are just things to think about and consider that aren't always pleasant with daycare. As much as your house is never just a house anymore, you also get to spend all your time at your house, which is nice. You're always in the comfort of your own home. During nap time, you can get some stuff done. You know, you can organize your shoe closet or whatever. I mean, there's things you
during
can do
nap or something.
During nap. But it is nice, you know, when you get a few minutes when the kids are sleeping to just sit on your own couch and maybe check your own computer or call someone or something, because you are home. That is a huge benefit. And when your spouse is off work, you get to see him, whereas if I was outside of the home, our family time would be a lot shorter. Yes, I'm still working, but it's a family childcare, so I can interact with my family during that time.
If there was like an emergency at the house, like an appliance broke, heaven forbid, other disasters that could happen, you know, like you're there and you can see it and you can hopefully make it a call and fix it as soon as possible.
Or people, if you need a plumber to come in, you're home to do that. If you need a dishwasher delivered, you're home, which is really nice. Another benefit is the routine. It's been so key for our family. It's something I kept over my maternity leave, even though I was shut down for that time. It's just so good for kids to have routine. We follow the same routine on weekends, you know, with some flexibility, but, you know, wake up's the same time, breakfast is usually around the same time, we play around the same time, nap time's the same time, dinner's the same time. So it's just really nice to have that really structured routine for your kids. There's flexibility, but kids thrive on structure, so it's just really nice that it's kind of built in already. A lot of
adults do too.
Yeah.
You're also always there for your kids. Like she said, your kids may be sharing you during the daycare, but at the same time, they are able to come up and cuddle you whenever they want. They want to hug you, play with them, just kind of like and enjoy those little moments. Like, for example, our youngest daughter, she's gonna be 6 months really soon. She's able to be here to see these little moments, like see her flipping over, cooing. Eventually, she'll see her crawling. Like, you just can't see that when you are away from them.
Yeah, it's a huge blessing. It's usually why people go into this. So I definitely that overshadows most of the negatives. So it's definitely important to consider that. And we did want to say that it is a super important part. And piggybacking off of that, your kids get built-in friends who come over for play dates 5 days a week. Yeah, they may get frustrated. They may act like siblings a lot, but they love their friends.
They're kids.
And what kid gets a play date every day with their best friends? My daughter, our oldest, has made a best friend. I mean, a few, but like one child she's really clung to, and I can see them being friends for life, which wouldn't have happened. And I think, too, that little girl's like part of our family. Like, I'm a mother figure to her. They all are. But I'm just saying, like, that best friend is like part of our family and probably will be for maybe the rest of her life. Who knows? It's just a really special bond that you have with these kids. You become an extension of their family. You get to know their family. Sometimes you do stuff outside of work together. And it's just like a really awesome community. And then lastly, something you may not think about. So as much as it kind of sucks to have all these regulations, it is kind of nice because sometimes there's things you don't think about when you have kids that you should do, like the alcohol thing. It is probably better to have it high up in your cabinet. And there's just lots of little things, like making sure you check your smoke detectors. I have to do that because it's part of my job, whereas you might get lazy with it otherwise.
So it's general upkeep of the house.
Right, and that kind of stuff, it's just kind of nice to be forced to do it. As much as it can suck sometimes, it is nice to have to do it because it's part of your business and part of the regulations and just part of having, you know, a professional environment safe for the kids. So these are the things you should consider if you open up a daycare of how it will affect your family. If you are a daycare provider and you have more to add, please be sure to leave it in the comments so prospective providers can read them and learn and reflect on them. And if there's anything else you want us to talk about in relation to this video, please leave any questions in the comments below. We'll be happy to answer them. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.